Um, Describe, if you will, what it was like to be a teenager in Johnstown during the early 40s.
It was a feeling of great security, with no worry about any problems outside your immediate home. A time of everybody knowing everybody. A time of not much interest in affairs of state or world. And that's about it.
Tell me about Southmont.
Southmont is a very residential section, or was, probably still is. No commercial businesses or anything. A few tiny stores, like corner drugstores and so forth. Everyone pretty much white collar. Our high school and grade school all were incorporated in one building. We started in the kindergarten on the first floor. When we got to the 6th grade, we walked up the stairs to the 7th grade, and then we walked until we were a senior in high school, which was immediately above the kindergarten. And when we attained that, we knew we were finished and ready for college. And most of the kids I knew were bound for one school or another.
It is said that people have a very clear memory of where they were and what they were doing when monumental events occurred. What were you doing, and what did you hear, and when did you hear about the attack on Pearl Harbor?
Oh yes, that was a Sunday, and it was in the morning, and I had an uncle that came rushing into our home, and he said, "Pearl Harbor's been attacked. There's been terrible bombing and much life. It's war. And my first thought was, well, this is of no importance to me. It'll mean nothing to me. Well, that was the biggest wrong thought I've ever had in my life. And then the next question came from everybody, where's Pearl Harbor? Why is it important? And we found out soon enough why it was important.
Maryanne, you've mentioned wrapping bandages for the war effort. What did this entail, and where did you go to do it?
Went to the local hospital, and I never quite did know where those bandages ended up or if they were used, that they were a war effort thing, and that in itself was reason enough to do it. And it was very boring, not very exciting. It was rolling, as I recollected. They were gauze things that we rolled into little packages, and never knew what happened to them. But did it about once a week for a couple of hours after school.
How old were you when you went to that dance?
I was 16, and he was 18. And shortly after that, that was in February, and by Flag Day, off he went to the Army. And by that time, we had just been totally dedicated to each other and said we would wait until he came home again to make something of our relationship. And we did it. At least we both avowed we did it, and it worked.
Do you remember what you were doing when they announced Victory in Europe Day?
Oh, I sure do, yeah. Again, I was working at Penn Traffic, and we got the news, and everybody rushed to churches, or most everybody.
When did you learn that Ray was coming home? How did he contact you?
Well, I was at school up at Penn State, and I had 2 or 3 very close friends on the hall, and I came up from a class, and they were standing around my door, and I could tell there was some problem, and there was something the matter. They were acting like your typical teenagers, I guess, and I said, what's up? What's the matter? And they said, you got a telegram. And dear God, what telegrams meant in those days. And I didn't stop to think that I wouldn't be getting that telegram. His mother would get that telegram. But I ran in. There it was on the desk, and they had been honorable. They hadn't opened it. And I opened it, and the message was, on the long trip home, see you soon.